Hello, people of YouTube. This is Financially Ruined, and today we're talking about trading or taking a small amount of money, such as this $2 bill, and making it into something significantly larger, such as this guitar. So, you may not know about guitars, but that does not matter. I'm going to talk about things more so in terms of value. The value of one thing, trading it for a value of a higher thing, and just keep on going and going and going until you either get what you want or you get to whatever price range you want to sell it off as, and then you make your money. You make a good chunk of change. And yes, this does take time and effort, and you got to go places and do things, but that's what we're here to do. You got to spend money to make money. So I started off with a cheaper guitar, $150 that I got off of eBay. I then traded that for a more expensive guitar, about a $300 guitar. The person wanted the one I had. I wanted the one they had. Played it for a little bit, liked it, wasn't the hugest fan. So I took that guitar, then I traded it up to a $500 guitar, roughly, give or take. Same thing, played it for a while, wasn't the biggest fan. Somebody else came in with a roughly $600 to $700 guitar. They saw my guitar, they wanted it, traded that for that $600 to $700 guitar. And then I took that $600 to $700 guitar that was really nice, but wasn't a big fan of, and I traded it for this guitar, which is in the $800 to $2,000 range. And I like this guitar, and I'm keeping this guitar. So that's where I'm at in terms of the guitar. Would I trade this for something more expensive at some point later down the road? If eventually I get bored of this, perhaps. Definitely a possibility. But as of right now, we are keeping it. So essentially, I have a $800 to $1,000 guitar, but realistically, I only have $150 in it. And you don't have to start that big. You can start with something that's a couple bucks and trade up. You can buy something like this cool little guitar light. There's no batteries in it right now because the batteries died, but something like that, that's maybe worth 15 to 20 bucks. And then just throw it on Facebook Marketplace, throw it on Craigslist, throw it on eBay, throw it wherever, and then you can either sell it and buy something else and continue trading, or you can just keep trying to trade up the line until you get something. I don't know if you ever saw, there's an old video a long time ago about a guy taking a pencil. Do I have one? We'll pretend this is a pencil. This is a Nerf dart. I don't know why it's here. Trading it into a house, and that's exactly what he did. He took a pencil, traded it for something. Now, keep in mind, it took him several years to do so in order to do it, and sometimes you have to cash out. That's something you need to know, too. If someone's offering you money for something, even though you have it for a trade, if it's a good amount, just take that money, invest it into something else, and then continue trading it or continue selling it for more money or whatever you want to do. Tools. Everybody buys tools. Everybody sells tools. There's very specific tools for very specific things. Maybe you're retiling the house in your bathroom and you want to do it yourself, but at the same time, you don't want a whole lot of money in it. So you buy some tools off of Facebook Marketplace for a couple $100, and then maybe you break even when you sell them, or maybe even you make some money when you go to sell them after you're done using them. A used tool is still a used tool. Whether you bought it used and then you're selling it used, still a used tool. But the gist of this whole video is trading. Got to buy something to make money. You got to spend money to make money. That's the gist of it. You want to open a restaurant, you're buying the building, all the equipment, all of the food, the drinks, getting the proper licenses. You got to have people to cook, you got to have people to clean, you got to have people to wait tables, so on and so forth, and you're spending a huge amount of money, and hopefully the return is good. Because realistically, you are never going to get rich working for somebody else. Very few people do. Unless you're like the CEO of Coca-Cola or Pepsi or something along those lines. And you got to have an idea. The problem is I don't have good enough ideas to know what I want to do in terms of starting a business. So I do it on a significantly smaller level. Guitars is my thing. I know a lot about guitars. I know a decent amount about video games, certain electronics. That's what I do as well. Bin stores, we did a video about that, I think a week or so ago. Bin stores are very nice. So essentially what happens is they buy a pallet of returns from Amazon, Walmart, Target, Kohl's, big box retailers, we'll say, in general. and then they dump them in a bin, and they charge a set price for everything. You can go in there and find something for significantly cheaper, and sometimes it's good for you because you just want it for yourself, but there's also resellers that go there and do the same thing. And keep in mind, if you have enough money, there is nothing stopping you from buying one of these returns pallets. Absolutely nothing. A tractor trailer will bring it to your house, dump it off, but at the same time, the biggest issue is with that is you need some place to store all the stuff. Hopefully you don't get all crap, because a lot of it is garbage, let's be honest. I went to the bin store again this past weekend. They had a cheaper day for customer appreciation or whatever they were calling it, and there was a reason it was cheaper, because a lot of it was crap. Sure, some of it was kind of cool, like that guitar light up there, but at the same time, when the item is retailing for $10 and you're spending $7, it's really not worth your time and effort to do all of that to make $3 profit. You want to try to double your money, triple your money, quadruple your money, octane your money, I think, is that one? 10 times, so on and so forth. You want to obviously try to make as much as you can. Selling locally, you're not going to get as much if you sell online, but then you have the catch. You sell online, you got to deal with taxes, you got to deal with returns potentially, although you might have to deal with returns locally too. They take a certain percentage. You never know. If you're doing an auction, there's no guarantee you're going to get the price you want either, depending on what you set the auction price to. So there's a lot of what ifs online, it takes, and then you're shipping something to, heaven forbid you lose something in the mail, and I have lost something in the mail before. Thank God it was only something small. It was just a little 3DS video game that I think I sold for like $12, and then, luckily it was insured, so I got my money back, customer got their money back, it was fine, but if that was like a $1,000 guitar and it just disappeared, that's going to be a problem. Yes, you're going to ultimately get your money back through the insurance eventually, but the customer might leave crappy feedback, and it's not your fault. It's the mail carrier's fault, but there's nothing you can do about it because that's what happened. It got lost in the mail. So if you can sell locally, go ahead. But, unfortunately, if you are in the middle of nowhere, it's going to be, all of this stuff is going to be harder. You're going to have to sell online. You don't really have a choice. You're going to be traveling significantly further. You don't even have to be a major city. I'm not talking Los Angeles, Chicago, New York City, any of that. You can just be in, 30,000 people, roughly. It's a good chunk of people. It's not the biggest chunk of people, but it's a big enough chunk where you can move some stuff. And people will come to you. You can go to people. In terms of selling stuff like locally, I would say stick to your guns. If it's an expensive item and they really, really want it, and they want you to travel, an hour plus, tell them, let's say you're selling a $1,000 item, tell them, Cash App, Venmo is perfectly fine now, a lot of people do that. Tell them you want a $100 deposit, non-refundable deposit, because you are spending an hour of your time driving out to that location. And if they don't like it, at the very least, you get to keep that $100, because that's what's happened to me a few times with guitars. I'll drive out somewhere, farther away to meet somebody, thinking everything's all set in stone, and then they try to either get me to lower the price or whatever, and that's the problem. The farther you go away, you're stuck in that situation, and you're more prone to just, okay, give me the money, because you don't want to completely waste your time going there. That's what happened to me with a guitar not so long ago, is I drove about an hour away, and I thought I was getting a more expensive guitar, and then they told me maybe there was a headstock crack. I couldn't tell, but I didn't want to risk it, so I ended up taking the guitar that was only worth a couple $100 more than the guitar that I initially brought, because I didn't want to walk away with nothing. And I was annoyed with it, 100%. I was annoyed with it, but really there's nothing I could do about it. So that's why, for the most part, I pretty much only meet locally. I don't really care what the amount is. I am going to meet you at my local police station, my local gas station, my local whatever, because time is money, gas is not cheap, it's expensive, and especially if you are hauling a large item and maybe a truck and you're getting like 15 miles a gallon, you're going to be burning $40 just to, go wherever. If you're delivering it, fine, tell them, tell them to pay you a delivery fee for bringing it there and give you the whole price, something along those lines. But ultimately, that's where you're at. So, yes, you can trade $2 to $100,000. It's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to take a very, very long time, and you have to spend money to make money. That is the gist of the video. Hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully I get something out of it, because I make these videos for myself too. A lot of these are just kind of reminders. I have an idea, make a video about it. I can always go back to it because it's right here on YouTube for me. So hit that subscribe button, notification bell, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. If you're on your phone, I believe there's a hype button. Hit that. That helps. Until next time, as always, have a good one.